Ah,
Okay,
okay.
recording has started. So, welcome to all of you, and I wish Gandhi Jayanti to all of you. And today, the speaker we have Professor Patnaik. He belongs to Department of Political Science, Hyderabad University, and he is also my teacher. He is also my mentor. And today, let me tell you that 230 participants they registered for this talk, and this talk, the participants are across from different parts of the India, and there are assistant professor in from state university, national university, etc. So Professor Patnaik, so far as this subject political science department is concerned, in India, I think he doesn't need any introduction. People they know him very well, and it is a privilege for me that I am his student, and it is a privilege for me that he is my mentor, he is my teacher. Okay, and he is a person who has been working on Gandhi from last 6 to 7 years, and in 2021 on a similar kind of topic he gave a talk, and today he will give a talk on democracy. Talking on democracy, in 2000 or 2020 or 2030, it has its own significance or relevance. And
Himanshu,
today,
Himanshu, just hold on.
yes.
Himanshu, please hold on. So many people are raising the hands. Is there any issue? Just query.
No
Just have
issue,
a
sir.
query.
No
So many
issue.
people. No issue at all. So continue. Please continue.
No issue. No issue. No
You
issue,
can see
sir.
that.
So Aristotle, the father of political science, for him, democracy was pervaded form of government. But most of the nation state of worldwide today they are following democracy. And today we are also experiencing at the central level and at the state level how democracy is functioning. Now, in such a juncture, talking about democracy is must. And when we talk about democracy, especially from Gandhi's point of view, then we need to understand the nature of, post-colonial, nation state. We need to understand, Gandhi's criticism of Western civilization. We need to understand uh, how Gandhi wants Swaraj or self-rule for both East and West, and how Gandhi wanted to reconstruct the democracy from within. And his ideas of Swaraj is realizable through several paths. And what are these paths? These paths are Antodaya, Sarvodaya, Satyagraha, and so on. His idea of village communities is reformative, not an empirical concept. So these are some of the glances of today's you know discussion. I hope that today the speaker will bring lights on all these points and gives us a sense that in which way we should think about democracy and how there is a difference between what a democracy is and what a democracy should be. So before I come to the speaker directly, now I request the coordinator of political science department to speak a few words on today's event. Yes, Rosni madam.
Uh, Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, madam.
Okay, thank you. Quoting the words of Gandhi on democracy, utters, an individual is a free moral And to realize his moral capacity of development, he has to control his self interest, to renounce his desires of material comfort, and to minimize his life needs voluntarily. A born democrat is a born disciplinarian. So a democrat must be utterly selfless. With these words, uh, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Vidubhushan Mishra sir, our Chief Speaker, Professor Arun Kumar Patnaik sir, the convener of this webinar, Dr. Himanshu Shekhar Mishra sir, faculties from other departments, students, scholars, and participants. A warm good evening to all. With all my deepest and sincere note, I welcome you all to this national seminar on the eve of Gandhi Jayanti to celebrate, revisit, and rejuvenate our conscience on Gandhi's view on democracy. Gandhi admires
Okay.
democracy as a great. Pardon?
Yes, madam, you can continue. You can continue.
Gandhi admires democracy as a great institution, but he also warns against its abuses. Furthermore, he qualifies his concept of democracy as disciplined and enlightened, which is the finest thing in the world. According to Gandhi, democracy is not only a form of a government, but centers individual and relates to human life and his endeavor. He stands for democratization of socio-political economic structure, which cannot be achieved by the state as an embodiment of coercive power. It requires a collective effort. He writes, the spirit of democracy requires the incarnation of spirit of brotherhood. Gandhian concept of brotherhood is based on his belief that democracy in spiritual equality of man because there is the same self in all of us. Everyone has a hidden power which he can make manifest at any time and become great. Democracy consists in developing that power. Democracy has a moral purpose that is to promote moral progress of all people. The basic goal of Gandhi is the common good of all, especially the weakest section of society. Gandhi takes an individual as free moral agent who is self-regulated, self-restrained and non-violence because becomes the means to achieve the desired goals in his democratic setup. Gandhi advocates that a democratic government must be decentralized and so propounds the concept of village republic, which symbolizes a perfect democracy. Thus, participation of common man achieved through decentralization, establish proper functioning of grassroots institution is essential for involvement of common people in decision-making process. His hopes on people's power and goal of democracy focuses on mass effort and mass education. According to Gandhi, democracy is as a form of a government where power is shared by all, and it promotes harmony in social relation, and it also aims to change the society through non-violent means. Gandhi opines, no society can be built on a denial of individual freedom. Further, the economic equality is viewed by Gandhi as it denotes the satisfaction of the basic needs. Furthermore, he also advocates the equality of status of all human beings regardless of the wealth and power. That is what Gandhi imprints the hallmark of democracy. Along with this, he principles the asserts of equal opportunity for all. With this, I want to conclude because I want to listen from a speaker about on this topic. And with this, I want to quote the lines of Gandhi, where he has rightly said that any system of government can fail if people do not have honesty and a feeling of brotherhood. With these words, thank you so much, Himanshu sir, for giving me this opportunity to speak on this occasion. Thank you all.
So thank you, madam, for your involvement in this event. Now, without self-purification, one can understand that. A good piece written by D.R. Nagraj, self-purification versus self-respect. It's all about Gandhi Ambedkar debate. There you can find he's the only person who brought synchronization between Gandhi and Ambedkar. To understand Gandhi, you have to be philosophical, you have to be spiritual, you have to be self-introspective. Otherwise, we cannot understand, Gandhi model of, anything. So with this, I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor who is the patron of this event. I request him to speak on this event. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Himanshu, for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts. Today's esteemed speaker, Professor Patnaik, Namaskar, sir, and other fellow participants who are interested in Gandhi and his idea about democracy. Being a student of non-political science, I do not have much exposure to the works of Mahatma Gandhi related to democracy that have already been quoted by Dr. Rosni and also by Himanshu sir. Let me give a few words about Gandhiji as a common man, what I have seen, because Gandhiji was a person who never believed that the rule of a man over the majority is acceptable. The reason was he had seen that the colonial India and where the Britishers, how they oppressed the Indians for nothing. So that is how he started his movement to dethrone the mighty British government from Indian soil. To him, what I have understood as a common man, he was more interested in social services, but social services was such an area where politics is so much integrated that you cannot be a good social servant unless you have a touch with politics. So based on his idea, he feel compelled to come into political field because he couldn't find even the social work without touching the politics. If you continue with the same thing, his idea about democracy is for the people, of the people, and by the people. And this concept of reaching the people and the democracy doing something good for the people again talks about politics. One more thing, as Rosni Madam has already given some idea about, any government cannot be sensible and do justice unless it is free from corruption, one side. The other side also, there is a sharing of power between the people. What she talks about the decentralization. As a student of management, what we have understood, the power should not be centered in the hands of few, a one person or few, like the example that happens as monarchy or even the dictatorship, or sometimes also the few people who are talks about or who takes the reign and others are suffering from that, as it happens somewhere in communist government. So my suggestion, my submission is, I do not have much to talk about because Gandhiji has talked about various aspects, including fundamental rights, including the benefit of the people. Even he talks about the nature of power. Even he has talked about the legislation, like that many things he talks about when we talk about democracy. He is more focusing on it is public opinion which can really create a healthy society. So I am more eager to listen something more from our eminent speakers rather than to be standing between you and the political and the intellectual discourse. So thank you everybody and wish that this webinar is a great success because what I found more than 106 as has been already been there in the webinar. They are attending that particular webinar with great enthusiasm. Even if the weather condition here is not good, the network, uh, why I'm referring to that network is also very weak. I can't just see many things, but sometimes also I'm finding interruptions in between. Thank you to be here, and I wish all the success of the webinar. Again, I namaskar. Thank you everybody for giving the opportunity to share my thoughts. Back to Himanshu, please.
Uh, thank you very much. Gandhi's concept of democracy means basically we need to understand his concept of participatory democracy. Now, I'm putting this question to all of you that today we are surrounded by many problems. My question is that is Gandhi not a solution to all these problems? Those who are critical about the Gandhi, they must purify themselves and they must ask this question: do we follow Gandhian principle to solve the contemporary problems? So, with this thought-provoking, question, I welcome our speaker, Professor Patnaik, my mentor, my teacher, to start his deliberation on this topic. Yes, sir. Now you can continue.
Thank you, Dr. Himanshu. You are able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor V. Mishra from Sambalpur, Department of Political Science, Sambalpur University, colleagues in the department, Dr. Himanshu, Dr. Rosini, and friends in the gathering. It gives me immense pleasure to know that university is organizing a festival of ideas on Gandhi Jayanti. That is a true spirit of celebrating Gandhi Jayanti. You should not celebrate Gandhi Jayanti for sake of it, but celebrate Gandhi's ideas, Gandhi's relevance to our times, and assess him critically if necessary. Where times are different, and if Gandhi is not adequate, say it. Be frank, as candid as Gandhi himself would have said. Gandhi famously said that say whatever you want, but don't use strong words against anybody. Use gentle words so that your criticism can carry some weight and you will find audience in your criticism. So be it. I would like to talk about Gandhi's thoughts of democracy, which are very vast and they range from nature to statecraft. So it's a vast ocean of ideas, and there are so many intermediaries, social variables to be discussed. However, I limit myself to four critical contributions of Gandhi's democratic thought. One is Gandhi's critique of Western civilization. Second is Gandhi's critique of Westminster model, the idea of representative democracy, which India is experimenting, and as Vice Chancellor and Dr. Rosini already highlighted, Gandhi's emphasis on decentralization of power, which is a form of democracy, and representative democracy tends to centralize political power. So Gandhi offered a critique of that. The second point. Third point is Gandhi's critique of religious supremacy, which is an important take because is an important contribution. In fact, his criticism to a great extent mollified and neutralized religious supremacy of different religious communities. But India is a multi-religious society. It's important to harness religious toleration, religious respect. So Gandhi offers an interesting critique of religious supremacy, which is in fact a cause of serious trouble in contemporary India. Finally, Gandhi's model of conflict resolution, dispute settlement in Satyagraha. That's an important theory of Satyagraha. Gandhi gives us in order to resolve conflicts that recur in your life. So how to negotiate with conflicts and how not to escape from it and how to face it squarely and firmly. And what should you do? Therefore, he outlines a model of Satyagraha in that. So we will discuss these four aspects. They are all closely linked to democracy because democracy cannot survive with conflicts. Therefore, democracy must look for conflict resolution. Democracy must look for resolution of conflicts arising from religion. Democracy must look for resolution of conflict arising from centralization of power. Democracy must look for resolution of conflict from what Gandhi calls civilization conflicts. So therefore, these are important aspects of democratic thought of Gandhi. There are many more aspects. As I said, Gandhi's contribution to climate debates. They are also part of democratic thinking about nature, caring for nature, so that nature can care for us. These are all important goals, and there are quite a few detailed discussions of Gandhi's contribution to what you call climate change. That I will not able to speak because we limited time would examine few controversial things which are bothering us for our time. Similarly, Gandhi's distinction between Varnashrama Dharma and Jati Dharma, which was not a satisfactory distinction for Ambedkar. If Ambedkar remains critical of Gandhi's position, that is also Gandhi revised in his position from time to time, some of which Ambedkar didn't know. Therefore, but that is again an interesting discussion of Gandhi's democratic contribution. So I will not be able to discuss that, and if there are questions, we can get back to that. So there are many more issues I will not highlight. Similarly, Gandhi's contribution to role of women in democracy, there's women's representation, women's empowerment in democratic process is a very important contribution, and we will not able to discuss that either. So there are so many limitations of my talk. Given the limitations, I will focus on these four important contributions to Gandhi's thought. First, Western civilization. Gandhi makes a distinction between Western Christianity and Western civilization. He says, I am not, when I am critical of Western civilization, I am not critical of Western Christianity. I am critical of Western civilization, which is obsessed with technology. The large scale technology, which has produced industrialization, etc., etc. That is my central concern. And why? Because he says this large scale technology is like a upas tree. It's a tree under which nothing grows. Upas tree, and it drifts poison from time to time, and everything that grows under the tree gets destroyed. So he just uses a metaphor that Western, this craze for Western science and Western technology is like growing plants under upas tree, which will be poisoned by the upas tree itself. Now, what is the point in growing plants under upas tree? Gandhi says this craze has become widespread in India, though India is not a Western power. And as a result of this, two important effects of science and technology are experienced in India. They are already experienced in Western countries. One is the attempt to control nature as an instrument for human progress. This itself is very frustrating because if you use nature as a, if you treat nature as a resource for human progress, and you try to utilize natural resources indiscriminately by using scientific power and technological power with which you are obsessed with. In process, you will destroy natural resources, and nature itself will become poor, and it will not have take care of itself. Then it will not take care of society, which in which you are trying to promote this science and technology. So paradoxically, the whole social development will be counterproductive if it is carried to extreme. So he says this craze for technological development has produced an extreme kind of development path, which is likely to destroy nature, and because nature is seen as instrument in this model for human progress, whereas nature in reality is a persona, is a entity in itself. Therefore, it is a cosmic reality in itself. It's necessary for us to understand that as a human society, we cannot grow unless this cosmic reality is preserved, protected, defended, and cared for by human beings. Therefore, produce technology accordingly. Now, Gandhi says that if this craze for science and technology, and today environmentalists have used Gandhi in a big way, and most in the environmental movement, Gandhi has become very popular. And as a result of this, Gandhi's interest in technology, criticism of technology, is also popular today and relevant today. So Gandhi's idea is that technology should be instrument. It should not be a goal in itself. Technology should be instrument for our progress, but nature is reduced as an instrument, and technology is a goal for science and technology become goal for human progress. Science and technology should be used as instrument for human achievement. And Gandhi, many people think that Gandhi defends only small scale technology. That is true, partly true. That is because he thought that small scale technology can give some power to human beings. But one of the consequences of large scale technology, the second point which Gandhi would stress is that the large scale technology not merely alienates human beings from nature, it also alienates human beings from each other. Therefore, it has led to social alienation and led to alienation from nature. As a result of this, you have few people who are very powerful, who control technology, who know science, they are very powerful, and the large number of people are powerless. And especially when it's translated to colonial context like India, you find villagers are completely powerless. So the technology is seen as a means to control population. So as a result of this, you find domination of urban areas over the rural areas in the colonial context. And the subjugation of villages by technology happened. As a result of this, you find disempowerment of large number of people. So Gandhi says it's necessary for us to have a reliance on technology in a way which gives us control over our own life and also helps us respect nature. Therefore, this respecting nature, respecting human life are two important goals of technological development. You can't pursue technological development per se and technology becomes a goal in itself. Technology should be a means rather than a goal. So Gandhi argued that it's necessary for us to think of appropriate technology. In appropriate technology, Gandhi argues that the small scale technology is relevant because through small scale technology we can control the consequences of technological development. We know what technology we are using, we know the labor process, we know what we are producing, we know what we are selling, we know what we are using for our livelihood. Therefore, the knowledge of technology is actually used by the producer, the worker who is using the technology. Therefore, for him, small scale technology is a window to control technology. Otherwise, technology in a large scale environment controls human beings and controls nature. So he wanted to reverse this whole process and argued that the small scale technology is appropriate technology. But does it mean that he opposed large scale technology? Yes and no. Yes, I said, as and when technology alienates us from nature, alienates us from each other, he is opposed to large scale technology. But he is for large scale technology which ensures what he calls dharma or justice for the masses. If there is a large scale technology which ensures justice for masses or dharma of the masses, then he is for it. For example, he says, I am for telecommunications, I am for locomotives. Without locomotives, you can't have railways. Without telephone industry, you can't have rapid communication. Therefore, probably if we had lived, he would have supported computer industry. Because computer industry in a way promotes a small scale technological development and is a high intensive technology. But the size of technological development has become small, and you would have probably supported. Also, it helps us. Communication process is it's produce internet which is effective in global communication. So he supported communication technologies like locomotives, telephone, and he would have supported internet as well. So because he thought that even if they are a product of large scale technological processes, but the scale of technology helps us and it gives us power to communicate more rapidly than before. Therefore, such technologies which empower us, which does justice to us, human life, must be promoted, must supported. So he is for technology with dharma, with justice. He is not for. He is not opposed to large scale technology per se. He is not opposed to. He is not supporting small scale technology per se. But he is more inclined towards appropriate technology, which involves small scale technology and technology with dharma. So he says this is the model of technology is actually should be model of self help. We help each other by using technology. The technology as a means to promote self-help. Ultimate, see, Gandhi's idea, central idea of democracy, moves around the idea of self-help or Swaraj or self-rule. So this idea is that therefore you need technology as a basis to promote Swaraj or self-rule or self-help. This is therefore the connection here. Therefore, for Gandhi, technology is a means to promote Swaraj. That's important. Technology cannot be a goal per se. Technology can't be an obsession per se. Technology can't be upastry, which can kill anything that grows under it. So technology should be a means to promote self-help or Swaraj. Second point I would like to stress is the Gandhi's critique of Westminster model. Gandhi argued that look at the British system. Gandhi said that in the British system, which is becoming craze in India, and Indians are also by and large following the British model. And then remember, this is the time when between 1910 to 1947, during which Gandhi wrote all these things. India was about to adopt British model, but the signals were there through the British. Various British legislations were in force, and Congress party was inclined to adopt the British model of polity for new India to be born in 1947. So Gandhi anticipated all that. He was essentially trying to criticize the craze among the Congress, almost boiling down to worshipping Westminster model. What is the Westminster model? Westminster model is based on idea of representative democracy, which we Indians by and large experienced it over the last 75 years. Therefore, we know what it is. I need not explain it in detail. Since we already experienced it and we know what it means, let me examine the problems that arise here, according to Gandhi. Gandhi says the representative democracy, which is based on the post the past system, based on one man, one value, and one vote, and aggregation of that produces a democratic outcome. So this model actually reduces masses or people of a nation as voters. Both in Great Britain, Gandhi relied on the critiques of Westminster model from the French tradition, especially Rousseau's critique of Westminster model influenced Gandhi to a great extent. Tolstoy's critique of Westminster model also influenced Gandhi to a great extent. So, therefore, similarly, the American pragmatist critique of Westminster model influenced Gandhi to a great extent. For this literature and his experience in Britain considerably prompted him to offer a critique, and he shared their concerns with Westminster model. Just first, the masses or people of a nation become voters. They just exercise their power once in 4 years or 5 years. Now, therefore, says the common people become essentially a number game. They are reduced to passive consumers of democratic outcome. Therefore, while people may elect political leaders, but the electoral outcome and the policy outcomes, political outcome of the election process is not in their control. So therefore, it results in a dichotomy between the electoral outcome that produces political leadership and policy outcome, which which is essentially product of centralized process of decision making process, in which masses voters don't participate. As a result of this, policy outcomes don't match the electoral expectations. Therefore, this anomaly in the representative democracy, which is a hallmark of even India in 2023, you find this continuing from British tradition, where Gandhi's point is masses are reduced as passive consumers of policy outcome or decision making process of political leaders who are elected by them. In the process of decision making, masses do not participate effectively. Therefore, their role in the democratic system, which involves not merely election but also decision making, masses are made passive. They are passive consumers of policy outcomes of democratic system. And the result of this, masses have no political control, and they have no resource control. Everything is centralized, and therefore they become passive observers of political drama. The conflict between ruling party and opposition party, common people have no share. Probably common people would reject this conflict. Yet they don't know what to do with that. So therefore, this conflict still goes on. I'm not referring to current conflict. I'm referring to conflicts in the past as well. So the conflict, the political drama that is produced by this conflict, remains immune to concerns of common people. Common people are made passive observers, passive consumers of political conflict that are product of this democratic system. So he says it's necessary for us to ensure power to powerless people. The representative democracy has made ordinary people powerless. It's necessary for us to rectify this system of democracy and ensure that powerless people are empowered. So how to empower powerless people? Gandhi argues that this empowerment process cannot come from above. Now, the logic of empowerment, for example, most of Government of India policies from Congress to BJP days, they are trying to empower people. But this empowerment, if you notice, comes from above. Empowerment as per the designs of the political masters in response to powerlessness of people. The empowerment indicates that the ruling parties of time, whichever party is power, they realize that people experience powerlessness. That is Gandhi's point. People experience powerlessness despite being part of democratic voting system, electoral system. Therefore, the slogan of empowerment, slogan comes from where? Comes from top again. This Gandhi's argument is this empowerment. Gandhi doesn't say it because this is actually our experience, but Gandhi would not have approved empowerment from above. Gandhi would argue for empowerment from below. All those people who are powerless must be empowered from below. Gandhi gives an interesting concept. He says, if you look at India's history is essentially history of oceanic circle. There are large number of communities in India who exist in oceanic circle. Oceanic circle, Gandhi's argument is the oceanic circle, the central point of oceanic circle is the individual, is individual particle. The individual is the central point of oceanic circle. But each individual is connected with family, family is connected with community, community is connected with village, village is connected with town, town is connected with district, district is connected with province, province is connected with nation, nation is connected with globe, and globe is connected with universe. Therefore, in the oceanic circle, individual moves from the point of birth as individual to various units in the oceanic circle, even up to the cosmic reality, even up to reaches out to God. God is God, praise for God gives birth in the individual self as well. Therefore, individual can't be separated from the cosmic reality. Individual can't be separated from national reality. Individual can't be separated from provincial reality. Individual can't be separated from community. Therefore, individual is locked up with everything else than individual. Therefore, he says this fluid movements between individual and the cosmic reality through large administrative units, which include family, district, and provinces, indicates that the like ocean, the current flows from bottom. So therefore, the power must flow from bottom. This is a Gandhi's metaphor. The oceanic circle is a metaphor that assumes that the ocean currents flow from bottom. Therefore, currents of democracy, currents of thought process, currents of cosmic reality must flow from individual. Therefore, even in his conception, the idea of God is accountable to individual. It's an interesting idea actually. Very itself can be debated and discussed extensively in one webinar. But the point is, you cannot have empowerment from above. Therefore, power flows from below. Therefore, the current like ocean currents flow from below, and the surface they appear on the top and again go back. Therefore, if you see the wave and tides flow into each other, so waves become tide and tides become wave. This is how the ocean moves. So also human species in social life. Each individual becomes part of cosmic life, and cosmic life becomes part of individual life. They are the tides and waves between individual and cosmic reality. In between, you have nation, you have village, you have family, you have town council, you have state provinces, and so on and so forth. But the power must flow from below. The initial thrust for power must flow from below. So Gandhi therefore argues that unless Indian polity is reorganized like this, unless primary communities are invested with power to govern their life, primarily for primary communities, you can't have decentralization of power. And for Gandhi, primary community is interestingly not simply about village panchayat. Hello, Iman, there's some disturbance here. Okay. So, therefore, Gandhi argued that it's important for us to notice that each unit is like a circle. Individual is a circle, and family is a circle, village is a circle. There are convergent circles. Therefore, each circle converges with the other circle. That's how the individual circle converges with cosmic circle. Cosmic circle converges with individual circle. Therefore, God is an individual, individual in God. Therefore, God can't be separated from individual. Therefore, how can you separate nation from individual? How can you separate province from individual? How can you separate panchayat from individual? So Gandhi argued that this is how the national polity must be reorganized. It must invest power and must leave. National power must retain power only after after the village community, after the primary community, tries to control those resources which it can control. Rest it leaves to the district community. Rest is what district community can control must be left to district community. Rest must be left to the provincial community. This is how the power distribution must flow from below. What primary community must do. Rest must go to the district community. What district community must do. Rest must move on to the provincial community. Therefore, for Gandhi, decentralization essentially means decentralization from below, not decentralization from above. Empowerment from below, not empowerment from above. This is central. The oceanic circle is therefore a important concept he develops to examine his criticism of representative democracy, which is based on the first post system of voting system. So here, therefore, development flows from below, politics flows from below, and for Gandhi realized that Congress party is obsessed with Swaraj, but they don't understand Swaraj carefully. They think Swaraj is essentially self-government. Gandhi says Swaraj is not about self-government. Swaraj is about self-government. I agree. But Swaraj is also about self-rule. Self-government essentially is trying to externalize self. You are trying to govern external self. Therefore, you call it self-government. But it is necessary for us to govern inner self. Therefore, governance of inner self is not same as governance by external agency of self. The external self and internal self must be synthesized. So for him, Swaraj is not about self-government as Congress party claimed. Swaraj is also about self-rule, or that's the true meaning of Swaraj. Therefore, and I will get back to it a little later in different context. Third submission of mine is that Gandhi remained a steadfast critic of religious supremacy. Gandhi realized that India is a multi-religious society. You have hundreds of religions, religious sects in each religious community. They are divided caste-wise. Hindus themselves have multiple religious sects and multiple religious customs. Therefore, he says, and similarly, Muslims may not have many, but they are equally divided among themselves. So also Christians, there are so many denominations of Christians. So Gandhi realized that this is a multi-religious society, and there is nothing of this kind which we experience in Europe. European society, Indian society are fundamentally different in terms of multi-religious fabric of the nature of society we have inherited from our past. We are talking of 1947, when Gandhi was trying to theorize Indian society. Now, there is nothing in that we can learn from where it is important for us to pay attention to what we are doing to ourselves in our history. And I realized that one thing which is the British system has done harm to us is the promotion of Christianity blindly. By bringing corruption in Christianity, Gandhi argued that the British state and Christian communities 19th century tried to promote civilizing mission for colonial countries like India. They basically argued that the natives of India are polluted. They should be purified through civilizing mission of both conversion and colonial subjugation. But Gandhi says that these two are, especially in the colonial context, these two were tacitly promoted. They were not directly promoted. The colonial state didn't directly intervene in promotion of Christianity, but it indirectly supported such thing. But he says, therefore, he uses Tolstoy. He says Tolstoy argues that Christianity by 19th century became very, very corrupt. It believed in purity and supremacy of its own religion over all other religions. It argued that all other religions are inferior, corrupt, therefore need purification by following the path of Jesus Christ. The simple slogan of what Gandhi called conversion became widely popular, widely practiced by most of the churches, including the Catholic Church, in 19th century. So Gandhi realized that this is, in fact, in his autobiography, he says that one of the Catholic pastors came to his village and argued that you Hindus are idol worshipping people. You must give up idol worshipping and follow path of Jesus Christ, and your salvation lies in following the Bible and Christ by giving up idol worshipping religious beliefs. So it's a direct attack on idol worshipping Hindus. And the Gandhi was a young school-going child. He was actually sixth or seventh class. He felt very alive, very jittery about that, and he recounted that experience as an adult, as a grown-up man. Years later, he realized that this is something which put me off from even listening to that religious propaganda, which tried to vulgarize our religious practices, and the religion itself is downgraded and considered as a third-grade religion, and therefore to attain civilization values, you Hindus must be converted as Christians. Now, this outlook is very frustrating and very disabling, and Gandhi was not close to RSS or close to Johnson. He was, in fact, he was recounting childhood experience and felt uneasiness with this propaganda. And he said this propaganda is belittling our religious customs, our religious traditions, trying to eradicate our religion altogether. This is very frustrating and very disabling. And far from civilizing, it actually is a degrading civilizing mission rather than enabling civilizing mission. So Gandhi argued that Gandhi simply not merely criticized Christian doctrine of conversion, he also criticized Hindu doctrine of Shuddhi and Muslim doctrine of Tabligh. He said these are all equally impalatable doctrines, because in these doctrines, now because of Christian propaganda, Hindus have placed Shuddhi to counter it, and Muslims have placed Tabligh to counter it, and therefore in the process of this, religious harmony among religious groups is likely to be cancelled out, and the result of this, India might experience difficulties in ethical religion. So Gandhi argues that it's important for Hindus to drop Shuddhi, important for Christians to drop conversion, important for Muslims to drop Tabligh. He was a all-round critic of all three forms of conversion, if I may use the word conversion, for Hindus and for Muslims and for Christians. He was a multifaceted critic of all these doctrines. He said that because of one doctrine placed in public domain, other doctrine is placed in public domain to counter it. Therefore, this will lead to eye for eye. It will lead to revenge, retribution. It will finish humanity. If only humanity survives, religion will survive. So, where is you are trying to eradicate one religion, in the process you will eradicate humanity. This will actually mind-blowing exercise. So Gandhi remained a very steadfast, committed critic of multifaceted conversion. He said conversion should be a freedom practiced by all religions, but that freedom should be internal. It should not be external. It should not be in public domain. It should be left to the private, in the private domain of individual's life. individual conscience should permit conversion. Suppose I want to become a Muslim, I am a Hindu, I want to become a Muslim. It is my freedom to choose a religion. And who are Muslims to talk about my religion? Or who are Christians to talk about my religion? So Gandhi said that don't have to propagate against my religion. Leave it to me to convert. So he said conversion is my right. He agreed. He believes that Gandhi interestingly argues that he believes in religious freedom. That each religion should be open. It should be open book for another religious community to embrace, to accept, to recognize, to tolerate. Therefore, each religion should be open-minded about itself, open-minded to others, keep its doors open to others to join, to enter and become members. But each religion should restrain from public campaign in community places, in Triveni Sangam, in hospitals, in community halls, in bus station, in a railway station. These public places don't campaign for your own religion and campaign against another religion. You can claim good things for yourself, but you need not talk about bad things about others. Let each religious community go through internal churning. If there are bad things in Hinduism, let Hindus offer a critique of it. Let Hindus offer an internal churning of it. Therefore, he believes in truly Swaraj. Swaraj basically means self-rule, means internal self. You must look at yourself and offer a critical outlook for yourself, to reform yourself. So Gandhi argued that all religious communities must go through internal churning. They must keep their windows open for others to embrace. So he was not opposed to conversion per se. He was not opposed to Suddhi per se. He was not opposed to Tabligh per se. He was only opposed to attempt to convert others through propaganda by denigrating another religion. Therefore, he remains a truly a thinker who believes in Swaraj, self-rule. You must govern yourself, your life. For him, religion is to make a better human being. Religion is ethical and is moral. Therefore, it is primarily meant to promote goodness in each one of us. If, as I said, if there are bad things in each one of us, we should internally look at ourselves and reform ourselves, rather than wait for external agency to come and descend and offer an alternative. So this is an important step. Therefore, Gandhi is essentially truly a Swaraj, even in a religious thinking process. Therefore, his Swaraj is linked with religion. His idea of self-rule is linked with religion. Therefore, religion is linked to democracy. Therefore, this democratic thinking is very important. He liked Sikh religion. He said Sikhism believes in monotheism, but this monotheism is interesting. Sikhism believes in one God, but one God which is known by diverse names. So this is interesting. Therefore, he says with diverse names providing diverse paths. Therefore, he says multiple paths lead to same God. Therefore, Sikhism, he admires Sikhism. He says Sikhism provides a kind of syncretic religious belief which promotes the idea of one God, but believes that that one God can be attained by one path. Multiple paths lead to one God. That is the way out of this. Therefore, Gandhi argues for Sarva Dharma Samabhava. Respect all religions. Samabhava means Samabhava. Sama means equal. Bhava means respect. So thinking about religion, you think equal thinking for each religion. Therefore, or equal respect for all religions. Gandhi believes that this is the essence of democratic thinking. If India has to survive as a multi-religious society, all religions must look at themselves internally to reform evil practices if they practice themselves. At the same time, each religion must respect other religion and not trying to claim to eliminate it altogether, establish its supremacy. Therefore, Gandhi remained a steadfast, consistent, holistic critique of religious supremacy, which in his view is dangerous for democratic survival of India. And today, we are facing this problem acutely. Therefore, I have to stress Gandhi more. Gandhi has become more relevant in today's context than during his time. Finally, I will take 5-10 minutes to finish this last point. This idea of satyagraha, as I said, idea of satyagraha is a theory of satyagraha is essentially a model of conflict resolution. It says conflict resolution is a process. So satyagraha is a process. What is satyagraha? Satyagraha essentially means satya agraha. Satya means truth. Agraha means seeking truth, seek or show interest in truth. So seeking truth can take place in two forms. You may seek truth in theory, you may seek truth in practice. So therefore, Gandhi, that you may simply speak truth, that is in theory, or you may practice truth. Gandhi was more a practical thinker. He was not interested in speaking truth for sake of it. He was interested in speaking truth, but he was interested in speaking truth in order to enhance practical truth. Thus, therefore, Gandhi is not a abstract theoretical philosopher. He is a more a philosopher in practical terms, philosopher of practice, or if I may use, philosopher of praxis. So, let me say two things quickly. Gandhi argues very interestingly. He says, don't avoid truth due to political inconvenience. Similarly, don't speak truth due to political convenience. Gandhi makes an interesting point. He says, don't avoid truth due to political inconvenience. Most of us avoid truth because it causes political inconvenience. We know what is true, yet we won't speak. For example, most of secular intellectuals won't say that that the new churches in Kandhamal are also a cause of problem. They propagated Christianity in community life, in public life. In most of the tribal villages, they wanted to wipe out tribal religion. They wanted to wipe out their form of worship. They wanted them to be civilized and join Christianity. You will not find this narrative in the narrative of the official Christian associations, or you will not find this narrative in the secular accounts. You will find this account in the private domains of Catholic fathers. And there are two important thinkers, I would say, two important Christian intellectuals who have said this, that Christian fundamentalism is also responsible for Kandhamal riots of 2007 and 2008. Apart from Hindu fundamentalism, even Christian fundamentalism is responsible for this. Nancy Lobo and Walter Fernandez. But point is, their narratives are not, and most of the Catholic Church fathers told my team that yes, these new churches have created an enormous problem for us. But point is, if you don't discuss them in public, if you don't take public positions, you think that if you take public positions, you will actually promote Hindu fundamentalism, then you are avoiding speaking truth due to political inconvenience. This is not satyagraha. Satyagraha basically means you must be courageous and bold. You must have atma-bal. You must have soul's force of the soul to speak truth. Must stand for truth, no matter what the political consequences might out. No matter people try to scare you out, try to inject fear in your mind, and you become apprehensive of the consequences. See, most of my teachers in JNU, they used to tell me, Arun, we can't talk about persecution of Hindus in Bangladesh because here our comrades don't like. I said, how does it matter? If there is persecution of Hindus in Bangladesh, how does it matter who doesn't like, who likes? You must present that truth in a secular form, in a way Gandhi would appreciate. Therefore, we are trying to essentially avoid speaking truth in public because of political inconvenience. So avoiding the Gandhi's point is don't avoid truth due to political inconvenience. That's a very interesting point. That Satyagraha has to gather courage to speak truth. Now, courage to speak truth in two forms. One, speak truth to power. Second, which is not known in the literature. Second point, which I stress, Gandhi harps on this. You must speak truth to yourself. You must be truthful. Don't tell lies to you and speak truth to power only. That's not Satyagraha. Satyagraha means you must speak truth to power. You must speak truth to yourself. That means you must speak truth around yourself. You are not speaking to yourself, you are speaking to somebody else. Therefore, you must speak to somebody else who may not be having power or might be having secondary positions in power. But you must speak truth. You must gather courage to speak truth. Therefore, you must you should not avoid truth due to political interest. This is an interesting point made by Gandhi. I have to recall this because I find a large number of secular intellectuals, including the All India Christian Council, deterred in criticizing Christian fundamentalism, not simply Hindu fundamentalism. This is an important point. And I find only two Christian intellectuals, two religious figures, Walter Fernandez and Lancelobo, have condemned Christian fundamentalism apart from Hindu fundamentalism in the context of Kandhamal riots. I can give many examples, but similarly, people don't talk about many in Mangalore. They only blame Hindu fundamentalism, not Christian fundamentalism. It's important for us to discuss that discuss this openly, courageously in public life. So don't speak truth due to political convenience. Therefore, there's a corollary of this point. This first point of Satyagraha. Second point of Satyagraha is that Satyagraha is a passive resistance. Satyagraha basically believes in mobilizing people on peaceful means and doesn't mobilize people on armed struggle. The Satyagraha believes in peaceful mobilization of people and resist untruth by mobilizing public, and mobilization of public must go on secular lines and must speak out truth in public life. Third aspect of Satyagraha is essentially beliefs in non-violence. Non-violence, or what I would now call self-rule, self-respect, freedom from polluting minds, fasting as influence of law, they can't be attained by violent means. Therefore, Satyagraha believes in forms of non-violence and forms of self-critical attitudes. You are not merely criticizing others, you are also criticizing yourself. Therefore, it is important for you not to nurture violent means, and it is important for you to stay calm and resist political power, resist untruthful processes which may envelop you. Therefore, you must speak truth courageously and get the courage to speak truth. That is an important goal. Gather Atmabal, as Gandhi says, to speak truth. That is important. Therefore, these are things which we cannot articulate unless we sincerely, honestly, genuinely champion non-violence. For him, non-violence is a means to foster such critical thinking, such self-critical thinking in each one of us. So, non-violence is again not a means for him. Non-violence is a goal, it's an ethical goal. It's try to alter our life, alter our own landscape of thinking process. So, non-violence helps us to think through ourselves where we are wrong and how to rectify ourselves by learning from others. Therefore, non-violence for him is a way out of the current crisis, where individuals are less introspective and more extrovert and more critical of others and less introspective of themselves. However, he says violence is permissible in a few legitimate cases. Involuntary violence, when you are doing something out of fear of religion, then violence to promote good to others. Violence is not to perpetuate yourself. Violence is when we do violence to do good to others. that is allowed by Gandhi. Similarly, violence in self-defense. When somebody is trying to kill you, you are trying to respond violently to self-defend. That's acceptable. So he is therefore for him non-violence is not a virtue in itself until unless they are useful for reforming ourselves. Therefore, it is for him violence is also permissible under three conditions, as I told you. For him, violence, as I told you, non-violence is like a force, is a vital energy. He calls it a soul force or Atmabal. There are various forms of Atmabal. One is he calls love force or Prembal. Then second he says compassion force or Dayabal. Then he says suffering is another force, Tapawal. You suffer like fasting to make a point. So you go through suffering, self-suffering, instead of injuring others, but self-suffering. So Tapawal. Similarly, he says non-violence is also Nitibal, justice force. Is non-violence ultimately is a truth force or Satyabal. So non-violence is a form of a Atmabal, soul force, as I told you already. So without all this, self-rule is not possible. Without all this, Swaraj is not possible. Self-rule is Swaraj. Without self-rule, you can't have Swaraj. Swaraj is not self-government alone. Swaraj is self-rule. And without self-rule, you can't have Swaraj. And without all these forms of force or soul force or Atmabal, you cannot have self-rule. Therefore, self-rule is deeply linked with Swaraj, and Swaraj is deeply linked with democracy. So all these concepts are concerned with democratic reform or democratic thinking, democratic processes of activities. You must not merely criticize yourself, you must criticize, as you criticize others, you must criticize yourself. That is also equally democratic. Therefore, and in the process of this, you must learn from others. This is again a democratic step. These are all democratic part of his knowledge process. So Gandhi's epistemology is very interesting. His theory of knowledge is very interesting, and one should work on this systematically. Finally, the last point I would say, Gandhi argues that in a conflict resolution process, you have many parts, many sides who are in loggerheads with each other, as a result of which conflict takes place. Conflict essentially is a phenomena which involves many sides. And unfortunately, only one side thinks it is true and other side is not true. Gandhi argues that that's not Satyagrahi position. Satyagrahi essentially takes a mediatory position. For him, truth is one, but truth manifests with multiple pathways, multiple aspects of truth. Therefore, no side can claim to monopolize all aspects of truth. Some aspects of truth may be on side of one, and some other aspects of truth may be on side of the other one, but they don't see each other's side of truth. They only see each other's limitations, therefore conflict. So for him, conflict arises when two sides or more than two sides look at each other's limitation, not look at each other's claim, not look at each other's truth claims. Therefore, failed when each side fails to notice truth on the other side, conflict arises. These conflicts arises in the ideological field. These conflicts arise in the political field. Conflicts arise in cultural field. All these conflicts arise because you think that other side is corrupt and uncivilizing. Therefore, your side is right and your side is civilizing and genuine, and it is you are supposed to convert the other side. So conflict arises because of this kind of truth claim. Where one side claims to monopolize truth, and the other side is considered by this side as one which is for falsifying truth. This is Gandhi argues that this is not correct. Gandhi says that first step in Satyagraha is to recognize that truthful, untruthful elements are in each side. Each side has limitations. Each side has truth elements. Therefore, each side has untruth elements. Each side has truthful elements. Therefore, first step is to recognize that no side is pure and supreme. No side is supreme, no side is pure. Each side is pure and impure. Therefore, it is important for you to recognize that each side has truthful, each side has untruthful elements in them. Therefore, first point in Satyagraha is to recognize that. Second point is just all the truth elements must be brought together. You must let them talk to each other. And the third is says you must form a new side which recognizes truth elements in A and non-A and argue that A is partly true, non-A is partly true, but both of them are wrong. Therefore, it is important for you to talk to each other. So, the Satyagraha task of Satyagraha is to mediate between conflicting views. This is the only way Satyagraha through dialogue is possible. Therefore, Satyagraha for him is synonymous to dialogue. It is without dialogue, you can never resolve a conflict. Dialogue must respect all sides in dispute. Dialogue must respectfully negotiate with each side's limitations. Dialogues must respectfully negotiate with each side's strength. Dialogue must inherit the positive and reject the negative in each side. Then only it is possible for dialogue to bring two or more sides in conflict together in the format. There are many experiments, many experiences across India. We have seen. I will not discuss them now, but for less time also. Therefore, this is how it says a new position can be arrived. New position must remain open-ended so that dialogue can continue. And therefore, Satyagraha is like a never-ending process of dialogue. So I would like to argue that Satyagraha takes a new position, but new position must be open-ended, and therefore new position must continue. Therefore, in his, if I can sum it up, Gandhi's democratic thought is a multifaceted project, and what is important for us to recognize that Gandhi's epistemology or theory of knowledge is very interesting, and his democratic thinking is rooted in his epistemology. I emphasize on four important points in Gandhi's epistemology. There are many more concerns, but I would like to end my talk saying that it is important for us to make sense of Gandhi's democratic thought. Important for us to understand Gandhi's epistemology first and foremost. Thank you.
So thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We must give special thanks to him because yesterday evening I asked him to give a talk on this topic and he agreed. And today we are listening to him. Professor Patnaik is very popular because of his strong point, strong sense, and one can realize that looking at today's scenario, whenever he speaks on anything, you always see things from the contemporary, sense. To one of our retired Professor Guru, he used to say that Indian political thought is not at all a thought except one, and that one is, Gandhi. For some reasons, he accepts Gandhi is the only one political thinker of India. And why? I asked him, why are you saying that Gandhi is the one political thinker? He says me that Gandhi starts with the human nature, and his concept or his notion of human nature is that individual is a moral entity. He's a moral individual. So whatever concept Gandhi has given, including democracy, it has a moral component attached to it. Without morality, one cannot understand Gandhi. There are questions that has been asked by our students that is in the chat box. But before I move to those questions, I think celebrating Gandhi Jayanti means understanding the moral and ethical, ethical point of view of Gandhi, or we need to become, moral, we need to become ethical, we need to become, spiritual. Otherwise, our arguments, our strong points will ultimately become, mechanical, and it may defy the very idea of Gandhi. And since today is Gandhi Jayanti, I think we should. I will sing Raghupati Raghav Rajaram, and I will share that lyrics. That lyrics is in Odia. I want all my participants to silently utter this Raghupati Raghav Rajaram with me. Then I'll go back to the questions asked by the students. I hope that you can see my screen right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that script is written in Odia, and I'm sorry for my non-Odia participants, but I utter what is written in the Odia. Right. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patita Pavan Sitaram, मंगल परसन राजा राम, पति तपावन सीताराम, मंगल परसन राजा राम, पति तपावन सीताराम, शुभ शांति विधायक राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम, बड़ा भय दानरत राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम, निर्भय कर प्रभु राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम, दीन दयाल प्रभु राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम, राजा राम जय सीताराम, पतित पावन सीताराम, जदुपति ब्रजपति श्यामा श्याम, पतित पावन सीताराम, ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरा नाम, सबको सन्मति दे भगवान, ईश्वर अल्लाह तेरा नाम, सबको सन्मति दे भगवान, रघुपति राघव राजा राम, पतित पावन सीताराम. So thank you for listening it. I know the moment you sing this song or the moment you listen this song, one can feel that the process of self purification starts from there. Now we need to self purify, otherwise any concept, even if that concept is very popular, supported by many philosophers, without the purification of the individual, without the purification of the society or the state, the good concept can produce, bad effect. So with this, let me go back to the questions asked by the participants, which is there in the chat box. I am reading it out, and after dealing with all these questions, if time permits, I will ask my participants to directly ask their question to our speaker. Sir, let me read the questions for you so that it will help you to answer it perfectly. One question is asked like this: Gandhian philosophy depicted that he followed non-violence from Bhagavad Gita, whereas Sri Krishna was in favor of war during Mahabharata. Okay, what's your response?
Yeah, he said that. He said he adopted non-violence from Krishna, from Jesus Christ, and from Buddha. I think three figures he had identified that. Yeah, but these are the paradoxical claims. But
So
Krishna
can
was
I intervene, sir? During your
uh,
lecture, you said that Gandhi is not always against the violence, but if that
uh,
violence is for just, then Gandhi will not object it. Lord
uh,
Krishna in Mahabharata, was he? I mean, he was always in favor of war, or he tried to avoid that war. But when war is avoided and a bigger adharma is being done, then war is the only solution to it, to dismantle adharma and to bring dharma, which is societal in nature, which
uh,
is, justice or the dharma is very much, it's not micro, it is at the macro level only. Now you can add, sir.
yeah, true. In fact, Sri Krishna said it is a dharma juddha. So it's not a war. It's a dharma juddha is a war for dharma, to restore dharma. So in a way, just war. So Gandhi was for some forms of violence, as I told you in the beginning. Gandhi doesn't defend non-violence for sake of it. For him, non-violence is a means, but it can't solve people's issues. You must adopt violence. Violence is supported by Gandhi on three grounds. One of them is just war. So for him, therefore, Sri Krishna becomes a symbol of non-violence because
No,
he
I
believes
can.
in dharmic war. As you said, believes in dharmic war, dharmic yuddha.
Sir, I can remember that if a woman asked to Gandhi that if someone will rape us, then what we should do? Then Gandhi replied, at best you can use your teeth and nail. Now using teeth and nail,
Self-defense, yeah.
using teeth and nail as a defensive strategy, it is also one kind of violence. But you need to protect yourself. Dharma must be
True, true.
protected. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
The second question is that how far we can relate Gandhi's conception of Swaraj in today's globalizing world as far as relative power politics is concerned.
This is a difficult question. And since I'm not a student of international politics, it's difficult for me to answer this question. But the idea is Swaraj, Swaraj must be cultivated at least locally, if not nationally and globally. So that's how the idea of Swaraj becomes global. If it's practiced locally and practiced localities across the world, then it becomes global in
Sir,
one sense.
can I add something to it because I can see the connection.
Uh,
If you see the relative power politics of today, mostly Morgenthau talked about it. There is always competition among the nation state, and there is a national interest, there is national power, and there is this is the process through which an international relation or international politics is going on. But to compete at the international level, every nation state needs to be powerful. And what is the base of that power, right? If the nation, which is consisting of individuals, if those individuals will become selfish, if those individuals will not have morality and spirituality, if the society is not based on morality and spirituality, if the state is not based on the morality and spirituality, then that soft nature of that nation state becomes very weaker. This is a soft power actually. This is a soft power. And soft power is also a very important aspect of national power. So Gandhi's concept of Swaraj, which is moral in nature, it ultimately strengthens a nation state. And when a nation state, got its own strength, then it can fight for its genuine interest. I'm not saying it must fight for the ingenuine interest. There are genuine interests of the nation state, and each nation must internally strengthen itself. And that internal strength will come only when the nation state will follow the principles of Swaraj. Sir, you can correct me.
No, you are able to answer these questions better.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. No,
Okay,
the
the
idea
next.
the idea of diplomacy owes to Gandhi's idea of Swaraj. Without diplomacy, you don't have international power. And without diplomacy, you don't have international connection. You don't have global power. Therefore, so long as diplomacy plays a very critical role in strengthening globalizing world and enhancing the global power and the relative power, which is national power, which is enhanced by international diplomacy, Gandhi's conception of Swaraj will play interesting contribution actually.
And Swaraj for Gandhi is equal to self-government plus self-rule. And both
Yeah.
are very important. Both are important to strengthen the individual, strengthen the society, and strengthen the state. So let me go to the next question. What is Gandhi's concept of Ram Rajya? Is there any difference or similarity between Ram Rajya and a well-ordered democratic society which is based on justice, equality, liberty, and fraternity?
See, Gandhi's concept of Ramarajya is about welfare state, welfare governance. Now, for him, the idea of state involves individual. Therefore, state power must emanate from individual. Whatever individuals can't do locally should be done by state at national level or at the provincial level or at the panchayat or to local level, district level. So therefore, the idea of Ramarajya should be seen in terms of the welfare goals of the society, individuals. If individuals, if they are empowered and their empowerment moves from below to above, then the idea of Ramarajya should be considered differently. Ramarajya is not simply about welfare state. Ramarajya, welfare state is not simply about state from above. For him, the idea of state evolves from below. Therefore, the idea of state is essentially based on justice, equality, liberty, and fraternity. There has to be not merely all this. As I told you, Ramarajya for him also means respecting universe. So you don't have justice, equality, fraternity, liberty with regard to universe. Universe must be taken care by care. Caring universe, caring the cosmic reality is also part of Ramarajya. Worshipping nature is also part of Ramarajya. Therefore, Ramarajya is not about welfare of human beings. Ramarajya is about welfare of nature. Ramarajya is about seeking truth in God, cosmic reality, which is outside nature, which is partly outside nature and partly in nature. Therefore, for him, God is a symbiotic relationship with individual, and therefore, Ramarajya transcends justice, equality, liberty, and fraternity. Ramarajya is about something else, not about these four. Ramarajya also deals with cosmic reality and should be solidarity with nature, solidarity with God. But fraternity represents social solidarity.
Sir, there
Rather
are
than,
lots of questions, sir. I think
okay.
we have to go to the next question. I hope that the person who asked this question, he got the sense. Okay, the next question is that what is the Gandhi's views on development and sustainability environment?
Gandhi offered, as I said, Gandhi offered a critique of Western civilization and argued that technology must be compatible with justice. Technology cannot be source of injustice. Technology must be compatible with justice, and justice not merely with regard to human beings, but also caring for nature. Therefore, justice for him dharma means dharma. Dharma means he must do duty to nature. He must do duty to each other. So, therefore, in my view, that critique actually is important for us to understand sustainability development. And today, all the environmentalists who try to talk about sustainable development, owe their debt to Gandhi's view, Gandhi's critique of Western science and technology.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, let me, two hands are raised. Let me go back to them. So, Jitendra Sahu, do you want to ask question directly? Or Jadumani Naik? Jitendra Sahu, you can ask.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
My sound is clear, sir.
You
Yeah,
have
yeah,
any
okay.
questions to ask?
Sir, in the current ruling government is the ignore minorities because the Gandhi's view on the minorities to protect them and the emphasize on the minorities. But the current ruling government is the follow the rule of greatest happiness of the greatest number. Sir, it is right.
Yeah, Gandhi didn't want simply protect minorities or majority. He wanted to protect all religions. He wanted respect for all religions. Each religion must respect other religion. For him, this majority-minority distinction is immaterial. The question is, in the constitutional framework, you have to protect minority rights. But point is, he himself believes not in a constitutional framework of minority rights. He transcends all that. He believes in the moral order of Sarva Dharma Samabhava. You must respect all religions. Once you
It is
respect all
all about
religions,
Sarvodaya, sir. Sarvodaya. It is the
Sarvodaya,
Udaya.
no, I'm talking of religious differences. In the context of religious differences, Gandhi talks about Sarva Dharma Samabhava. Means you must respect all religions. Sarvodaya means development of all. But in context of religious differences, Gandhi doesn't make a distinction between majority and minority. But he doesn't believe in constitutional rule. For him, self-rule is the ideal rule. Therefore, if you respect each other religion, where is need for minority rights and majority rights? To respect each other religion, you know how to reform each religion. You know how to reform yourself internally. So, where is need for majority-minority distinction? Gandhi would not subscribe to this view. This is actually a constitutional idea which has come to us after Gandhi passed away.
Okay, thank you, sir. Professor Swai, Gyanaranjan Swai, you can ask.
Thank you, Dr. Himanshu. Sir, thank you, sir, for giving such a wonderful presentation on Gandhi. But I still feel, you have raised many important concerns, and very rightly you said that Gandhi's ideas of democracy is entirely different from the Western notion of democracy. But I still think that even if religious considerations are actually, for example, people agree to disagree on religious points, but I think, can we really call Gandhi as a, forget about all the differences? Because we have read in our undergraduate and graduates that Gandhi as an anarchist. So, can we really call Sir Gandhi as a Democrat? Because forget about the differences, religious differences aspect. Even if we respect all religions, but there are still several other areas where Gandhi, um, you know, uh, people will feel reluctant to call Gandhi as a Democrat. That's what I feel. But still, sir, you please, clarify my doubts. I have a lot of doubts.
See, Gandhi is a different kind of democrat. For him, democratic thinking is very important. See, for example, as I told you, Satyagraha involves not merely criticizing others, speaking truth to power, but also speaking truth to each other who are powerless. Therefore, speaking truth needs courage. Therefore, These are the important values of democracy. Without all this moral fabric of democracy, you cannot think of democracy as a self-government. So for him, Swaraj involves self-government. Therefore, self-government is part of democracy. But self-government is not enough in order to promote democratic thinking. The democratic thinking must come from Swaraj, which is also self-rule. That's internal. Right? By talking to yourself, by reforming yourself, by looking inside yourself, by criticizing yourself, you can contribute to democratic cause. So therefore, in today's world where democracy means only criticizing each other, Gandhi would say criticizing each other is not enough. It's important for you to criticize yourself and improvise yourself. Therefore, it's a continuous democratic thinking is internal part of his Satyagraha, Swaraj, and Sarvodaya. So these are all basically concepts which are auxiliary to his democratic project. So Gandhi is a democratic thinker of a different kind. He is not a democratic thinker of the liberal type, but he is and also he believes in participation of all. For him, Sarvodaya is not simply development of all.
I think Gandhi is not a state-centric democratic theorist. State-centric democratic theorist. And maybe when Gyano sir is telling that he's an anarchist, it means that he is totally against this state-centricness. He wants democracy must begins from the people and it must ends with the Sarvodaya of the people. Right. Governance. So my question is that whether governance will be there or not. Governance. State may not be there. But what about the governance?
No. Gandhi doesn't believe in abolition of state, unlike anarchism. The anarchists believe in abolition of state. Gandhi doesn't believe in abolition of state. He believes that state must now be accountable to people, and nation state must exercise only. And state has many forms again in Gandhi's hierarchy of state. State has national form, state has international form, state has provincial form, state has district and local form. Therefore, in all these forms, state must exercise those powers which are delegated to state by the lower bodies. For him, delegation comes from below. Therefore, resources and tasks of power exercised by various branches of state are to be delegated by the lower bodies to the upper bodies of the state. For him, therefore, he is not an anarchist. In my view, he doesn't believe in evolution of state. He doesn't believe in a withering of state. He believes in reordering state so that people are enabled and empowered properly, genuinely. You are disabled, Himanshu.
Okay. Sir, Gandhi was critical about the state. Marx was also critical about the state. Now, what is the difference between their, critical understanding?
No, that is, you look at the other questions. Don't ask me any question now.
Okay. Okay, we can take the question of Mananjan. Mananjan, you can ask.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Mohammed, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sir. So thank you for hearing you once more. Sir, I just thinking about this way, the values that from Buddha. So Buddha, Gandhi is also take heavily from the morality of the moral values from Buddha. And Ambedkar also takes heavily and the disciple of Buddha. And especially the Indian question of caste, though they differ in certain lines, is there any similarity between their takes on Buddha?
That's an interesting question. I think Gandhi takes actually, I think both in a way modernize Buddha. They adopt Buddha in modern conditions. Buddha would not have argued for passive resistance.
Okay.
Anything.
Yeah. Right.
So Ambedkar talks about that, and Gandhi talks about it. Therefore, they, in my view, they are neo-Buddhist. They are not classical Buddha. They
Okay.
follow Buddha for modern times because they believe in speaking truth to power.
Okay.
They believe in speaking truth to point is they speak. They believe in speaking truth to yourself. There they are like Buddha, but once they believe in speaking truth to power, then you are not like Buddha.
Okay.
You are modernizing Buddha. You are using Buddha for modern times.
Okay. Okay.
Therefore, Gandhi and Ambedkar have a different spin on Buddhism, in my view.
Okay.
So
Okay.
both would say that they are simply extending Buddha's ideas, but they are not merely extending Buddha's ideas to modern times. They are also innovating Buddha for modern times.
Okay.
But both are similar, though they both think that they disagree with each other. One disagreement is Buddha, Gandhi didn't apply satyagraha to caste system, and Ambedkar applied satyagraha to caste system.
Right.
But Gandhi came around that theme, and he was rethinking all the time, and he came closer to Ambedkar. Yet, in my view, he fell short of recognizing that even caste-based inequality must be fought through satyagraha.
Right. Right.
This is where I think felt Gandhi felt Gandhi fell
Right.
inadequate,
Right.
and Ambedkarites are bitter about Gandhi on
Right.
that
Right.
issue.
Yes. Okay, sir. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Jadumani Naik has raised his hand.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
May I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, my question is, sir, is Sarvadharma Sambhava the same as the Uniform Civil Code?
No. Uniform Civil Code essentially is a common code. Na? Sarvadharma Samava means respecting
Actually, yeah.
differences
And another,
of each religion.
yeah.
Therefore, Uniform Civil Code is not about respecting differences. Uniform Civil Code is trying to create a common code for all. But Gandhi's Sarvadharma Samabhava is a different kind of doctrine. He believes in respecting differences. Differences in following path to God. Differences in following customs to God. Differences, therefore, they are two different things.
Thank you, sir.
Vrindavan Nag, he has raised his hand.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Sir, my question is that uh, actually democracy is oftenly criticized as a ideology of capitalism or capitalist class. And so far as my knowledge is concerned, Gandhi was talking about spiritual democracy. So how can you synthesize spirituality with that of capitalism? Number one. Number two, Gandhi's ideas on democracy, I feel it is too spiritually oriented. Is it practical or is it just utopian ideas?
See, you are right. Gandhi's democracy is more a spiritual thinking process. But Gandhi also tries to criticize capitalism, harping on private profit, harping on alienation of man from man, contributing to degradation of nature. So for him, for Gandhi, these are all part of elements of Swaraj. Therefore, criticizing capitalism on the basis of new spirituality is what Swaraj is all about. And non-violence, satyagraha, these are all different aspects of Swaraj. Sarvodaya, Antodaya, they are different aspects of Swaraj. Now, therefore, for Gandhi, critique of spiritualism, the critique of capitalism goes well with his new spirituality, which involves different kind of politics. Is a new kind of politics. Therefore, it's not simply, as Gandhi said in an interesting discussion with some of the Gandhian thinkers, he said, actually, with K.R. Narayan, Gandhi said, interestingly, he said, K.R. Narayan asked him, do you believe in, you're talking of Swaraj, this, that, they are new kinds of spirituality, but is there any politics in that? Gandhi said, yes, there is politics in that, but there is politics, the indirect politics, he said. All these concepts contribute to indirect politics, he says. Indirect politics means what? Indirect politics means you are trying to offer an implicit critique of Western civilization, which tries to promote science and technology, centralized state power, and representative democracy, and so on and so forth, and then religious supremacy. So these are, and then a conflict resolution process, which is self-perpetuating. Conflicts recur repeatedly without dialogue in the picture. Therefore, these are the important critics of politics of a different kind. Therefore, Gandhi would say his spirituality is also political, but politics is indirect, not direct, directly visible. Therefore, it's important. That's how Gandhi replied to K.R. Narayan, and I would like to give same response to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. So for Gandhi, spiritual and political are not always antithetical. In many situations, political must be guided by the spiritual values. Otherwise, it cannot work. Okay, there is a question asked: in what ways has Gandhi's concept of satyagraha has been applied in modern social political movements around the world?
Yeah, many ways people have applied. Narmada Bachao Andolan is based on Satyagraha. Today, most of the anti-displacement movements in India are inspired by Gandhi's idea of Satyagraha. Similarly, I found in my research work on Kandhamal, I found that conflicting parties from both Panas and Pandas came together through Satyagraha means. So Satyagraha has been practiced by many people who they need not study Gandhi, they need not know Gandhi, but they have been practicing it. Gandhi essentially produced a theory of Satyagraha based on people's practices. He in fact he went all over India and found that people are fighting for freedom, for Swaraj, by peaceful means locally. So he basically gave a national framework so that people can fight together. So therefore, the similar thing in post-Gandhi era, one notices people are fighting for fighting against powerful interests through Satyagraha means. Therefore, Gandhi Satyagraha has been practiced worldwide. That's why UN has adopted today's day of non-violence. And
Sir, you are saying if those who are dealing with movements, if they will become satyagraha, their movements will be successful. Otherwise, there is problem.
I don't know, but they are following Satyagraha. They are following peaceful methods in fighting against powerful interests. They are fighting for sort of livelihood. They are raising questions of environment by peaceful means. Therefore, Satyagraha has become a popular, successful idea in people's practices.
So there is another question: by using Gandhi's idea, how democracy can become more representative?
The representative democracy can never be more representative. It can be a little more with proportional representation of power. But Gandhi was not in favor of representative power, democracy. He is not in favor of proportional representation or simple representation. He is in favor of, as I told you, reorganizing polity on the grounds of oceanic circle, where power must flow from below, not from top to bottom. Decentralization of power is not something Gandhi talks about it. He simply says that power must flow from below. Therefore, that's how not decentering centralized power, but by letting power flow from below to top. Top is necessary, middle tiers are necessary, everything is necessary for Gandhi. No institution disappears in Gandhi's scheme of politics. But for him, people must participate in power. People must participate in those resources which they themselves can manage. Rest they must leave out to higher orders of power. Therefore, Gandhi, in my view, gives us a alternative way of looking at democracy or power. He is not
Sir,
in
next
favor of
question.
representative democracy.
Sir, next question is that how can we ensure a bottom-up approach in contemporary world where power is trying to prevail over the knowledge?
That is a good question.
This question is asked by my student Duroti. He's a foreign student from Africa.
I see. That is a very good question.
So how you will respond? I mean,
But
I'm
the
also
point is, you
speechless.
must challenge it. Challenge top bottom approach of power and speak truth to power and empower people from bottom below. So then try to then knowledge and power can be synthesized. When you say power emanates from knowledge and knowledge emanates from below, power must emanate from below, then it is a bottom-up approach which is to be practiced by people, those who are resisting development processes today through peaceful means. They are trying to exercise bottom-up approach. They are trying to combine power with knowledge. They are trying to resist where power dominates knowledge. They
So
are
my
trying to speak truth to power.
confusion is okay, sir. My confusion is that whether Durati is locating knowledge at the bottom or power at the bottom.
No, she is saying power may dominate knowledge. Power knowledge system, power dominates knowledge, which is true. And therefore it is must be challenged. Where power dominates knowledge, it must be challenged. As I told you, Satyagraha is about speaking truth to power. Satyagraha is about speaking truth to yourself so that you are empowered. Therefore, this dialogue with power must go on, and the primacy of knowledge over power must be recognized, must be accepted. For that, we need a bottom-up approach. You must challenge it from below, and people are doing it. Therefore, Gandhi isn't surviving in people's memories, people's lives, people's experiences. They don't read Gandhi's textbooks, but Gandhi's working experience remain in their memory. And they are fighting for justice to accept against power that tries to accept against knowledge.
So now there is a very controversial question that why Nathuram Godse assassinate the Gandhi who is also an Indian, where other Indians were considered Gandhi as a greatest person who gave a lot of contribution towards Indian independence.
Okay.
Okay, we'll go to the next question.
We should postpone.
We will not deal
Controversial
with it.
question.
It's a controversial question. Okay, the next question is that how you code and decode the present India's Hindu Rashtra with Gandhi's Ramarajya? That's a good question.
This is a very good question. See, Gandhi's Ramarajya is quite different from Hindu Rashtra. Hindu Rashtra actually hinges on the idea of nation state. Nation state is exercising power from above. For Gandhi, Ramarajya is essentially a form of power that must evolve from below. Therefore, Hindu Rashtra is quite diametrically opposite to Gandhi's idea of Ramarajya. Though Hindu Rashtra thinkers may use Gandhi's Ramarajya and use Gandhi's Antodaya or Gandhi's Sarvodaya and claim that they are following Gandhi. Therefore, there may be confusion. The confusion in your mind maybe because of this correlation, but conceptually they are different. Hindu Rashtra is based on idea of centralized state, where Gandhi's Ramarajya is not based on even decentralized state, based on a Ramarajya is based on idea of people-centered power. Therefore, it is quite different from Hindu Rashtra altogether. And second, Hindu Rashtra doesn't talk about Sarva Dharma Samabhava. It basically means Hindu supremacy. So Gandhi remained a critic of supremacy of any religion.
Any kind of supremacy, any kind
Any
of
kind of
supremacy.
supremacy. He remained a firm, committed critic of any kind of supremacy exercised by any religion, including Hinduism. Hindu Rashtra doesn't criticize Hindu supremacy. Therefore, Hindu Rashtra gives a romantic picture of Hindu supremacy, Hindu belief, Hindu ethic. So Rama Gandhi remained critical of that.
So there is an interesting question that what is the actual concept about Gandhiji's three monkey, that I will not see anything wrong, I will not hear anything wrong. I mean, if intellectuals will not see, will not hear, will not speak, then to what extent they are intellectual?
That is a good question, and it is a challenge to Gandhi. Yes, Gandhi, one hand, Gandhi talks about speaking truth, even if it's inconvenient. So therefore, you don't close your eyes once you face the truth.
That is a good. Okay, this is the
but
last
close
question.
Close your eyes basically is a metaphor. Gandhi said, close your eyes to bad things of life. But Gandhi doesn't say that you should not discuss them.
It's all about, I think, Gandhi wants to say that one should not learn by seeing wrong things. One should not learn wrong things by hearing wrong things.
Yeah,
Basically,
exactly.
Gandhiji wanted to avoid to become wrong. Gandhiji wanted, no, he was a believer of self-purification, and all these nonsense things may pollute. In that sense, Gandhi said it. Okay, sir, last question we'll take, students are writing question. I am also thinking that giving you some rest. Okay, one question Jogesh is repetitively asking that how Gandhiji's ideas can be used to make democracy as more representative. Let me deal with this question, sir. I mean, Gandhiji was not in favor of representative democracy. How the individual, why one individual will represent the other individual? Anyone can represent me. It is the people. It is the people, they will decide. I mean, Gandhiji has a different model. That model is based on, based on the people. The institution will grow from below to, above. So it is the people who will decide who will be their representative, not the political party. Political party will not decide who will represent whom, who will stand from which constituency. It is the people decide. But currently, can we practice such kind of, such kind of ideas given by the Gandhi towards these principles of representation?
No, Gandhi, see, when Congress party didn't subscribe to his idea, and they went ahead with the constitution that advocates representative democracy, Gandhi said, okay, they don't want to go ahead, let them go, but let power be decentralized. And therefore, therefore the idea of decentralization of power comes in the directive principles of state policy. And but that's not Gandhi. The true Gandhi, that is, Gandhi made a compromise with the Constitution of India. Gandhi believed in the essence of Swaraj must flow from below. Swaraj can't be thrust upon people. People must realize on their own and tell truth to power and tell truth to yourself. That you must realize that on your own. It's a process of self-realization, not to be thrust upon you by others, including Gandhi. You should be realized. It should be part of self-realization process. For Gandhi, this is most important part of democratic thinking. So long as you are not criticizing yourself, you are only criticizing BJP or Congress or somebody else or somebody Communist Party, this party, you are criticizing others, not yourself, you are not democratic. You have to criticize yourself.
So let's take the last question, and that why Gandhi applied non-violence method. He would have advocated the violence method, which would have easily defeated Britisher, quickly, right? So the question is that Gandhi's non-violence method takes Indian independence to a long process, as millions of people influenced by him, and Britishers were few in comparison to us. Should not he rather choose violence?
No, Gandhi selected non-violence not by from his mind. He toured all over India. He realized that people are fighting independently of each other, fighting through peaceful methods to attain Swaraj. Gandhi therefore placed the issue of non-violence, the struggle for peaceful means or passive resistance, as a method of uniting people, where people are already following that path. See, historically in India, all the resistance movements have more or less followed peaceful methods, except few in local pockets here and there, which followed militant methods. But when Gandhi toured across India, he realized that most parts of India, people are fighting for Swaraj by non-violent methods. Therefore, Gandhi adopted non-violent method from people of India. He didn't place it independent of people's choice. He adopted it from people of India. And what he did is he brought them together under one platform to fight for non-violent method, to fight for Swaraj through Satyagraha. So Gandhi realized that Satyagraha is our internal DNA, is part of our internal system of life. And so also Ambedkar, interestingly, Ambedkar also says similar thing. Though they don't agree with each other, Ambedkar says same thing, which Gandhi says. Satyagraha is a bone of contention, and it is through Satyagraha people are fighting for Swaraj. Therefore, this is what they discovered it in popular movements in India. This is not their invention. It is more is essentially discovery made by them by touring across India, visiting different parts of India. Therefore, Gandhi placed that method of Satyagraha. In fact, Tagore or somebody asked him that why are you not going for violent process? Gandhi said, if the Germans were our colonial masters, I would have thought about non-violent methods. I would have rethought. Gandhi said that. Since British were governing us, and but point is he realized that by touring across India, he realized that the that people are already resisting British power through non-violent methods. Therefore, task is to nationalize that method. He did that. That's all.
Okay, thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. Because of there is some network issue, I am also sometimes confused whether one can listen to me. That's why I asked. So we have reached at the last part of this event, and I am thankful to Professor Patnaik. I mean, the way he agreed and he joined with us on behalf of our department and on behalf of our Sambalpur University, on behalf of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, our coordinator of the department. I am thankful, and moreover, I am also thankful on behalf of all participants for this event. 233 participants were registered, and that means it speaks about the importance of this topic on this auspicious day. And I'm thankful to all the participants who have joined, who have asked this question. I mean, that's a tribute to Gandhi. On Gandhi Jayanti, if we engage with Gandhian, thinking Gandhi from contemporary sense, that is the best tribute what we can offer to Gandhi. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Sir, namaskar.
Yeah. Thank you for converting Gandhi Jayanti as a festival of ideas. That's very important, and it should be like this. Thank you.
Okay, sir.